Yep.
Go. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Kevin and Greg. Let me redo that. I keep saying Awkward Watersport Guys. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Kevin and Greg Live. We have where we keep shit awkward because I keep talking about the Awkward Watersport Guys. And we are not the Awkward Watersport Guys. Maybe in Kevin is awkward still, but
bro, like that is you, man. You're awkward. I'm fucking smooth. I wanted it to be the awesome water sport guys, man, and then you changed it. You were like, you didn't know how to spell awkward or awesome. I didn't know what happened to that, but no, I'm so cool.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll make things as fucking awkward as I can, dude. Hey, so speaking of this, is funny. So, you'll like this because the last podcast, I'm leaving my doctor's office, and he says to me, "Hey, man, so I got your meds here for you, and when you put in the text message in the automations, like, hey, I need a refill on my boner pills," somebody yells that across the office, like, Kevin O'Neill needs a refill on his boner pills. I'm like, I don't know what you want to call them, dude. I mean, I use them to get boners, man. Can you crush them up and snort them? Like, because I'm in on that too. Let's go.
Isn't that a HIPAA violation?
What, for boner pills?
No, to scream that across the room. Did they say that or did you say that?
No, I said it in the text, and then and then the staff like yelled it across. I think he made that a joke. You know what I mean? But no, they know who I am, dude. They know I'm in there just for boner pills anyway. So they're like, old Kevin needs his boner meds and his drug needles for my testosterone, dude. Because I shoot up my test like a fucking badass, dude.
Well, thanks for sharing. Well, we have an exciting show today. We have Chris Razzo from Elevated Wake Club out of Lake Tahoe. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kevin. Or sorry, Greg. I wanted to keep it awkward.
He has Kevin on his mind. Kevin just literally opened the show up with on a banger, and
yeah, that was exciting.
He's left.
Yeah, now both of you guys are thinking about my boners, man. Like, that's weird on you, not me. That's not a weird thing I did. That's a thing that you guys did.
No.
Not what I was planning on, but
you're not going to share this one with mom and dad, I guess, there, Chris.
I'm hoping our members listen to this for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, man, like Chris goes on the show and talks about boner meds. Like, he's a hell of a pump. So you have members. You're not members as far as, I'm sorry, we're not going to get into it, but now I have questions. But yeah, welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, glad to have you, dude. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, who you are, what you do, my man.
Yeah, so in Lake Tahoe, I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, boating on the rivers and lakes out there, and then moved to Lake Tahoe for college. Ended up staying out here working for some boat rental companies, and that was pretty fun. So figured I'd get into the business myself. Started a jet ski rental company in 2018. Had a partner at that time, and we've since gone our separate ways. I bought him out about a year ago. Highly recommend if you can do it. No offense to him, just business wise, it made sense. You guys,
I think we got to dig deeper into that conversation.
We can, yeah, we can.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
I should have put that in the do not discuss.
Do not talk.
So yeah, started jet ski rentals. It went great. A friend of mine was kind of in the business. He did flyboard. I don't know if people still do that. It was kind of cool. Nobody does it around here anymore. And yeah, I got experience doing that. And he kind of moved out of town, and I saw an opportunity in the market to take his business over. And we started with a couple jet skis, grew that into a fleet of 6 or so. And then things came crashing down. So the state park we had a contract with decided to pull that contract. And that caused me to decide whether to just shut it down or kind of pivot into something different. And I kind of already had the idea for a boat club. So was familiar with Carefree and Freedom, which you
Wait,
guys,
I gotta sideline you here for I gotta ask a quick question in the middle of this, and then
yeah, yeah,
we'll circle back to the boat club. Did you used to buy all of your flyboard stuff from that company out in California? What was it?
that there had to be a better option there. And so bought an Axis wake boat, saw the need for like a luxury model as well. So not really nobody was doing like wake boats in clubs. And not many are still that I know of as far as like $200,000 boats. So we have a couple Nautiques and Malibus, Cobalts, so higher end brands.
So Chris, tell us, like, so you saw that you had an opportunity to do rentals, and then you decided to go in the boat club direction. Is it more so a decision because you saw a better opportunity over there, or is it just the regulations out in Lake Tahoe make it really hard to do rentals? Like, is there a lot of slip space? Is it difficult to even operate a business out that way? And maybe, like, obviously you got the California side and the Nevada side, because at Lake Tahoe is like literally you can walk back and forth from state to state. So maybe just walk us through that experience.
Yeah, and that's one of the main factors is the regulatory issues faced and contractual issues. So there's not a ton of marinas, very little slip space. If you can get one, you're on a wait list or spending. I just saw a slip out here sell for like $450,000 for a 20-foot slip, and that's you own it for like a lifetime or whatever and can resell. But seeing the price of that, obviously, it wouldn't make sense to put a club boat in a $500,000 boat slip. No matter how long you're in business. So regulatory issues there. Most of the marinas aren't willing to work with outside businesses. So there is a Suntex marina. They do a lot of in-house like boat club stuff. That's probably
They
another
do a
just
lot of everything. That Suntex
yeah.
owns every marina across the world. I don't think their boat rental platform is very good. They seem not to give a shit about it.
Yeah,
Thank God.
they need to call Wave Res. That's what they need to do.
Good to
They
know
need to
because
call
I
Kevin. I'll sell him Destiny Water Adventures for $10 million.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. Some of the big companies I just saw BlackRock bought Marine Max yesterday or something. So seeing those big companies come in, it's like, do they know what they're doing, or they're just going to throw a couple bayliners in each fleet at 100 different marinas and call it a day, or something like that. So I think that's a huge factor is competing with the big guys that are in the space and going to buy all the marinas out, and then they're not going to offer a contract to me to do a little club with 5 boats and test it out. So I see that out here as well. Some of the family marinas that are smaller still are more open to it. Right now, we launch and retrieve most of the time. So we have a couple buoys, but otherwise we're hauling the boats around with trucks in and out of the water, which operationally is insane. It's getting pretty tough to maintain and scale that. But left with no other option, it's really the only thing to give up, which huge moneymaker. I mean, you burn $5 in fuel for a jet ski and the person doesn't even do anything. They just flail around in the water.
Flail
So
around
I'd
in
say,
the
say
Well,
great.
so I think the conversation's interesting because I know a lot of business owners get pulled into water sport trends, right? So
Yeah,
historically, like what you're doing, I think is really smart, right? With Boat Club, because the model is, based on monthly recurring revenue. It's based on annual recurring revenue. You guys have a couple different money streams going in there. It makes revenues more predictable rather than being like seasonal boat rentals. Not to say that the boat club model, Freedom, Carefree, haven't had their problems throughout the years, because of course they have, right? It's very much a sales driven model. With boat rentals, it's going to be more of marketing. People are calling, they are already sold. But with Carefree, and with the boat club model, you're looking more of like a again, like I forget what you would call it, but you have a churn, you have a customer life cycle. It's a little bit more of a nuance than sort of like a one and done boat rental business, right? So, historically, from a revenue perspective, you would look at that as being more scalable, but because it's still in the boating industry, it's so highly nuanced, and your profit and loss in your balance sheet is filled with all the same type of problems and issues that boat rentals are. It's just seemingly on paper a more sustainable model, and we can argue about that back and forth, and talk about the merits of the actual business model. But taking it back to Flyboard, what I think is really interesting, especially for young entrepreneurs like yourself, for myself who got pulled into that, is that it's like a it's like timeshare, if you will, not timeshare, but where you're like, hey, buy into this business, right? Like, it's not a franchise, really. You have this sales team, and then they're going to do service, and they sell you on the idea of owning a business. And that's how a lot of operators, started and failed in Flyboard, because it was an untested model. I think the closest thing to it is like at what is it, XYP real estate or EXP real estate, where they sell you on this founder and Frankie Zapata and this revolutionary thing. And he is the fucking, the Steve Jobs of water sports and all this shit. And then you buy into this business model that's completely untested, has no fucking service. There's nobody that's working on a Flyboard. And then you're reaching out to your sales rep when the thing goes sideways. And, don't get me wrong, I think Paul was probably roped into that whole sales pitch too. But now, as a business owner, when I hear somebody pitching this revolutionary new idea, and I think you can probably agree with this, Chris, is that as a young entrepreneur, you can smell that bullshit game from a mile away now, right?
Totally, and that's what I try to avoid on working
Yeah,
on
all of us.
working on expanding the club. I could just go that route and have a marketing guy that's like Alex Hormozy out here pushing, oh, sign up, do a boat club at your marina, or you're doing rentals, and add an extra source of revenue. It's going to be great. You're going to scale it to 10 boats, and you're going to make $1 million a year, and this and that. But end of the day, yeah, like you said, there's those operational nuances that are going to cause huge issues, and it's not as easy as having a playbook to run off of, like some businesses, like online businesses, great, scammy or whatever you want to think. Easier to scale than a boat club or boat rental. That's where it does have that same kind of deal with, you're dealing with boats and they suck, or they suck to maintain. Let's
Chris,
Yeah,
put it
no.
that way.
And listen, I'm a huge Alex Hormozy fan. In fact, I was supposed to be at his workshop in Vegas a couple days ago. I had to push it back to October. But to this point of like, call it business models, and we've talked about water sports on paper seemingly just nonsensical when you look at it as a business model, right? Because all of the balls are
Yeah.
bouncing. And I think, again, back to what you're doing, and why the boat club model is smart, is because one of those bouncing balls is not revenue, right? And that's always the real challenge, right? Because I've been to Hormozy's deal before, and that was their answer. It was like, well, why don't you just do a boat club? So, why don't you tell a guy like me, why you like boat club, but better yet, let's talk about, like, if somebody's coming to you as like an operator, not a member renting a boat, why not boat club model? Like, well, what are some of the hard things about boat club model?
Yeah, one of the biggest things is the recurring revenue is great, but it pushes your revenue out. So it's great having revenue in the winter, especially if you're in a more seasonal market, Tahoe being a big one. We have one of the shortest seasons. So it's great in December when I'm going snowboarding and there's money coming into the bank. It's tougher now versus a rental company. If you're bringing in all that rental revenue right away, you have fast cash coming in. I have to wait till next month on the first of the month for all those membership dues to come in. So kind of a set spend per month of what I can do. And then also finding financing to cover when I don't have that revenue coming in. So if I'm short this month on whatever boat payments or something, got to take from a line of credit to cover that till next month, or till the cash flow improves in the winter when I'm not paying employees, things like that.
All right. And maybe speak to the boat club model as far as like call it a buy sell model. So oftentimes, I think about Destiny Water Adventures in the framework of, I'm solving for, let's call it a property management plus boat dealership, right? Because at the end of the day, your costs going into the boat versus your maintenance over a 2, 3, 4, 5 year life cycle of the boat in commercial use versus selling it. I would imagine the bouncing ball in the boat club model too is also the model itself and then the variabilities in demand for that type of boat. So you may pay X amount for a very hot boat or a very interesting boat that in 5 years it maybe doesn't have as much demand, maybe market segment changes, depreciation, what the market's doing for my business, right? I've got 35 Subway sandwich shops, right? I've got 35 pontoons. At the end of the day, boat costs like on aluminum side keeps on going up and up and up and up. So, depreciation versus resale value versus cost of ownership versus holding costs. All these things are constantly changing. So it's so hard to put a number on the sale of that boat. And all we can do is just try and purchase that boat for as little upfront cash as possible. And then you have to try and either A, you're going to pay cash for it, or B, you're going to pay the interest rates and holding and the cost of loan. Like, man, it never stops.
And that part's been the hardest thing. So buying jet skis
Yeah.
to rent out is easy. Show up with cash at the dealer, buy some skis. You're covering your cost in the first week or two. With a club where I'm buying a $200,000 boat, part of it we have an initiation fee, but still you have to get those members into the club, onboard them, and then plan that depreciation, which has been a nightmare the past couple of years with the market, as you guys are
Yeah.
probably aware, especially with the high end boats. So I have one Cobalt that I bought that's probably worth the same as when I bought it a couple years ago, and then I have a surf boat that lost like half its value in 2 3 years. So it's hard to track and compare. And like selling that boat, it's like how do I replace that when it's sold for half of its value and keep the members happy because they want new. The whole point of being in a club, part of it's like, oh, we get new boats every couple of years, and we're not on some old rundown rental boat is what they want to see. And I mean, what I want to provide as well, but easier said than done.
Chris,
Yeah,
would you say that?
the money flows to the top on that for sure, man. And I
Mhm.
think like what you're doing is smart, but I also, I always wonder, right? Is like, well, how do you be the guy who sells the how the Chris's of the world, because we know that like that's where all the money's going, is being the middleman in between the manufacturer and selling the idea of a fucking boat club. Because back to the Hormozy conversation, is that's the true great business model, because that's all fucking predictable, all of it.
It is, and that's my goal, is to expand. So Greg and I were talking a little bit earlier about issues there. Tahoe's a small market. It's very seasonal. It's very transient. So a lot of either second homeowners or just people that are vacationing, kind of like some places in Florida and other places where it is like that. And people aren't spending a whole season here to go out and use the boats in the club. So that they're just going to rent. They have no reason to buy a boat or something or join a club like ours. So looking at markets, that's where I want to expand into some markets that are a little more stable for the club model. And I think there's plenty out there that have been untapped by Carefree, Freedom, all those other franchise clubs. Trying to figure out how to do that without becoming a franchise, because I'm personally against that kind of model. Trying to figure out a little better way to control it. I have some former Carefree members, and I know you guys have had, I think, some other boat club guys on the podcast. So no offense to Carefree, but I've heard some of their members complaining of just inconsistencies across the board on access level and things like that. And I'm trying to figure out how to scale it and figure out what issues members of those clubs are having and how to solve those problems to make it more convenient, better access, better locations, because some of their locations aren't in areas like Tahoe. So higher end luxury locations. And a big part of that is access. So a lot of the lakes, one of the ones I'm looking at is Folsom Lake, which is close to Tahoe, a couple hours away or less. There's one marina there and it's run by the state park. So run into issues. How are you going to start a boat club there without any like public access really.
So Chris, how do you manage like the I guess the churn, and how do you kind of protect that revenue and retention, considering that, you know, you are a smaller club, you don't have the resources to buy, you know, boats every, you know, year or two. Like how are you solving for that?
That's been tricky as well. So it's pretty small churn right now. So like this year, out of 34 members, we lost, I believe, 2 members. So pretty small turnover there. And we signed up 8 new members this season. So last year we had a big turnover. We lost about 6 members. So that 8 replaced pretty much all of those. So key is marketing really on that end and finding people to replace. We've done a wait list before, so we try to keep the ratio of members per boat pretty low, because people will fight over access. If you have 10, 12, 15 people trying to share a boat in the fleet, it's going to get messy, especially with a short season. So our ratio is right around 8-1 right now, and our prices reflect that. So another part of that's being in Tahoe. Everything's more expensive out here, especially in California. And yeah, so finding that price point to fit where, yeah, if we have turnover or we have to replace a boat or replace a member, what that's going to cost us in marketing spend, as well as onboarding, say, a new boat to bring on 8 more members.
So are you charging them for the year up front, or are they going month to month?
They pay monthly, so there's an initiation that's paid when they join, and our starting cost of the initiation is $10,500 for our lowest tier right now. And then they pay monthly dues. Right now, our main membership, it's our gold membership, is $750 a month, and that's year round. So even though they're only getting access May through September, they're paying dues in the winter as well.
So why not? So why not offer? Because assumably that you're just you're you're copying the Carefree model, the initiation fee, the monthly, correct? Like that's how they all do it.
Yep, very
So
similar.
so why wouldn't you, you know, back to Alex Hermosi's advice, not my advice, but to this point is, why wouldn't you come up with call it your grand slam offer that like, okay, so 700 bucks a month initiation fee, 10.5, 7 times 12 is going to be 8,400, so that's 18.5 for the year. Why wouldn't you call it like a 14,000 pay up front, or give that option, so then you do have the dollars to accelerate your marketing? And I mean, it's going to reduce churn, and it's going to put more money in your pocket up front.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Biggest issue I've seen is the existing members being against that. So bringing on
Right. So
people
you're then you're
that are
bringing
paying
then
per
you're
season.
yeah, but then you're bringing on a customer that fits that model, right? And you're bringing, so
Yeah.
yeah, the existing customers or whatever, but the new ones that fill that gap then are the customer that you want. And ultimately, in my opinion, I would say that the only thing preventing you from doing it is, one, fear, and then two, it would be sales. Because at the end of the day, if like you have a convincing enough offer that makes it make sense, right? That's so good that people feel stupid saying no. It's up to you to sit down with Claude or Chat GPT, or just in your own brain figure out that offer that's just like, man, dude, this fucking makes sense. Because at the end of the day, you're going to stay with us, you're going to have a great time, you're going to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G value add that makes you much more valuable than Carefree or owning a boat, because that's who you're really sort of pitching against, right? Is boat ownership in general. And if you're pitching that on $700 a month and a 10,000 initiation fee, again, assumably you're asking for that initiation fee because it's putting the money up front in your pocket to put back into marketing, do all these things. Why not accelerate revenues with the same process, but just asking for more money, and then using the same argument that you use against boat boat ownership, and just making the ask for the more money and continuing to ask and continuing knocking down those doors, thereby accelerating all of your efforts because you are getting that cash up, you're getting more deals in the funnel, and your lead flow is increasing, and probably your close rate increases too.
I like that, and think we'll have to talk more about that. And I'm
Sorry.
gonna have I'm gonna
I
pass
mean,
on Hormozy's. I'll pay you directly instead of Hormozy, I guess. It
no,
sounds
no, no.
like.
We'll just go. We'll just go out to
No,
Vegas, dude. Like we'll have a good time. We'll go out to his work thing together, and we'll go
I'm
grab some
down.
dinner
I'm down.
and hang out with my partner Steve Edwards, who came by way of us from Paul Bolka Jr. from California, because Steve sent us an email going, "That guy's full of shit." And then me and Steve started a business to take my boat test. That was, surprise, surprise, a better business model than fucking boat rentals. And I just saw him a week ago, and he gave me this watch. So fucking.
Oh, awesome. Nice.
So look at
I'm
that.
in. Let me know where to sign up. Yeah.
So
It's at the end of the show. It's going to cost you $17,000.
I'll have to think about it. let me sign up one more member and I'm in.
hey Chris, what? So
Yeah.
your average household income for your customers is probably pretty high, I would imagine. So what does your customer profile look like?
Yeah, average household income over 250, I would say.
Yeah.
Currently, most of them probably on track. Some of them are just in the millions and not too worried about spend, of course. But a lot of younger families, I'd say a lot of people in tech. So we're close to the Bay Area. So a lot of people that have second homes up here that have recently come into money, either through the stock market or sale of their startup, all sorts of things like that. So seeing a lot of younger families, not too much older than myself, some of them younger than myself, that are joining because they don't want to buy a boat and deal with the hassle of it when they're dealing with bigger things. So have the opportunity to come up here on their weekends or the short time that they have available to take off work and come up and go boating without having to deal with it. So seeing a lot of that, and a lot of retirees that are up here, have second homes as well. Have some that spend time in Florida, Arizona in the winter because they don't want to be in the snow up here. So seeing a little bit of both, it varies. Definitely all high income, high earning, or some trust fund things going on there.
And for all of you listening, just keep in mind that this segment that he caters to is never going to be affected by all the bullshit in the economy and everything. So like you got a great customer profile because it's just not affected. You can work in that arena and not have to worry about the changes of the gas prices and all other shit. So
what Greg is saying is go up to Lake Tahoe and compete against Chris. I'm giving thoughtful advice to a guest, and Greg's out here spinning up competitors for you. Greg, like, why do you always have to be like this, man?
I got to keep him on his toes. Got to keep him on his toes.
It could be Miami, anywhere there's money, which is pretty much everywhere, really, if you look for it. But yeah, I could jack my prices up. I'm sure that wouldn't be too much affected. Hopefully none of the current members listen to this and hear that, because they're going to be like, no, keep them low.
What's Rupert Murdoch say, man? Price is what you pay, value is what you fucking get. And at the end of the day, man, it's just, it's one of these things where I think it's tough for all SMBs, right? Me included, right? I mean, we have these arguments in office. I have them with every business partner I've ever had. I've had Zeb from Zebulon Consulting. Yeah. Zebulon Consulting have to argue with me about, sometimes like there's some crazy numbers get thrown around about what we could charge, or, to this point when I'm like, well, just ask them for 17 grand, like, how about 17 million, but we've raised prices on things. And I mean, sometimes there's products I have priced and I just go, man, I could just double this, dude. This is too cheap. Like, what are we doing? Like, let's just sell more. Because again, it goes down to this theory of customer behavior, and a small, medium-sized business owners, we get trapped in this thought that of like, I forget what it's called. Greg, you probably know where you, the psychological pricing strategy of having your customers think like you do, right? And so I always hear this all the time from small businesses. Well, I don't want to do my customers dirty. I'm like, what? Like, are you not the best
That's
option for
crazy.
them? I don't understand like what I don't want to nickel and dime them to you know what I mean, like, well, but if you're offering more stuff, like, why not give them the option to buy it? Like, I get nickled and dimed everywhere, and I'm happy to do so. You know, I went into the rug store today, and I was like, okay, I'm buying an area rug for my front room. Oh, now I'm buying an area rug for my bedroom. Oh, now I'm buying a little small rug for the kitchen. Like, if you didn't have the 50 and 60 and $100 items to offer me, you know what I mean? I'd walk out with 2 rugs and be like, okay, I got 2 rugs, whatever. And then I'd stand in here and look at my kitchen and go, oh man, I need a rug for the sink or whatever. I wish I would have got it while I was there, and now I'm going to order it on Amazon. And it's just like this insane idea that your customers don't want to give you more money. Like, they wouldn't be there in the fucking first place if they didn't think you were the best option. So why not give them more options to reinforce their decision-making process and increase their experience, the value of the transaction that you're having? Like, to me, it's just nuts, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm
And
gonna buy
and
a
to the
watch. Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, that's why a boat club is a great option if you're doing rentals or doing charters, to add it on if you have the capacity. That's a big factor, because if people are paying you 20 grand a year for access to a high-end surf boat, they're going to want the level of service. They don't want the rental level of service. So if you don't have the capacity, that's where I could see it not working as well. But if you're looking for expanding and offering your clients that want to go out on a boat 10, 15 plus times a year or whatever it is, having that offering as a club or a shared ownership model. I've looked into doing some fractional ownership, and we're still working on that. And then the other thing I'm working on is a higher tier membership. So we haven't capped out at having an equity membership or a higher tier membership where members are paying, say, 50 grand a year, and they're getting access to higher end services or higher end boats, things like that, that other members wouldn't have access to. Because that's in the club space, that's what people buy into, right? It's a social circle. They want to show their friends, like, oh, we're the highest tier in this golf club or in this membership. And we're going out on the yacht today, not the 20-foot Bayliner or whatever it is. So
Chris,
I think
talk
that's a
about the
big factor.
fractional model. You said fractional. I heard this from previous conversations, but I'm not really understanding what is a fractional model opposed to a boat club. Aren't they kind of the same, or how they differ?
Yeah, so the boat club, we own the boats. Fractional model, the owners would buy in and they'd have equity ownership in the boats, and then they'd pay a management fee either to us or to another party to manage the boat. And so we would simply organize, and we would have a fee, have that all structured out. I won't share or go into too much detail there, but price the boat accordingly in say 6 shares, and then each owner buys in, and then they pay a management fee monthly, and then they get access to the boat. And so similar to a club, a little higher access level, and that they're sharing it between a set number of people, say 4 to 6, versus a club it might be 8 to 10 to who knows. That's why I've heard
Very,
other clubs don't even say what
so
how many
this
members.
is all marketing, Greg. I mean, I know Chris has got some fucking magic over here in fractionalized ownership, but this has happened in time immemorial. Like,
Yep.
private yacht owners charter out their yachts for I know Wheels, who was Mark Hendricks, owned Wheels down in Key West, and you could charter Wheels for $250,000 a week. I mean, there in the yacht game and the high-end boat game, there's so much of that going on. Like, even place holding for new models where they make one boat a year, or one like a 72-foot sport fish. They only make a handful of those a year, and that might not be Viking. I can't remember, but you can buy a placeholder in line to get the new one for $1 million or $2 million, because some guy that's spending $8 million on a sport fish and wants the latest and greatest model. He has no problem spending the extra million or million and a half to get that year's model. So in the world of chartering, yacht charters and boats, I mean, this is just a horse of a different name. But I like it. Fractionalized boat ownership. It's like a CFO, or
Yeah.
fractional CFO. It's just a consultant by any other name. But hey, fucking
Exactly.
hey, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to fucking call it, if it makes you money, dude. Fucking, call it boat
Well,
share. Boat Share
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah, well,
.com.
what brought it on is just the pricing of boats. I mean, look at how much some of the higher end models are for not a yacht. We're looking at just a 30-foot boat. Some of them are pushing $1 million, and I see the market dropping. It already is. People aren't necessarily buying as many of those new off the lot as they were a couple years ago, even. So I see that being a huge factor in people wanting to split the cost up somehow to still have access, and they still have plenty of money, but they don't want to buy $1 million boat they're going to use 3 or 4 times a year. They're smart enough to realize that's crazy and that they'd rather put their
Look,
money elsewhere. In the market,
vacation
or
clubs, timeshares,
yeah,
Airbnbs. It's just something of taking an asset and then fucking chopping it up a bunch of people who don't want to either A, buy the asset, B, don't have the fucking money for it. And that's, Greg, where I think you started getting into where you're talking about like, oh, hey, this is a bulletproof demographic. I would argue against that a little bit, just because, and I'm not shitting on your business model at all, dude. But I mean, there has been problems inside of I mean, that's why Carefree got acquired by, I mean, whatever it was, Jet Surf for that little, I mean, those guys were just a couple
yeah,
of fucking small guys that didn't, like, I met with them for Take My Boat Test. I expected some like real execs. I don't know where they put the money together to buy it. But I mean, the boat club model has not been like, just like timeshare, like it's not an easy thing because you do have to have one hell of a sales game to sell it because you are trying to really find that one customer avatar that has enough money to be in a boat club but not enough money to buy a boat, or they get sold on this idea that it's easier than, I mean, because at a certain point you go and buy like a million, 2 million, $3 million boat. Now these guys are hiring captains to fucking just be on standby to take care of
yeah.
the fucking thing, you know what I mean? So that is an extremely niche market, and that requires a hell of a sales guy to close that at scale, or at least a sales
And
team that requires to close it at scale.
100%. I think that's our biggest opportunity is pushing the convenience factor that you're getting. You're not just buying into
Yep.
boat access because plenty of options out there like Carefree or other clubs, other timeshare, fractional, whatever you said, whatever you want to call it. But what you're buying into is the convenience, the time savings. So you're coming up, you're showing up, you're hopping on a boat, you're going out. You don't have to wipe it down or deal with that aspect of it, which is a huge savings versus it. Even if you have millions of dollars and can buy whatever boat you want, you still have to pay somebody or figure out how you're going to manage it and take care of it. Whereas joining the club, hands
And
off
I think
for the
it's
most part.
super. I think it's super smart what you're doing independently, right? Like I would
Yeah.
tell Carefree or any of them like you're doing to go fucking piss up a flagpole, because that just chews into already the thin margins that we have to deal with from a boat
And
club model, from a rental model, and they're gonna sell you on this. Oh, it's we have all the math figured out. We know this and we know that. But at the end of the day, you're still paying those middleman fucking prices to deal with the franchisor instead of just spinning up the fucking thing yourself, because it's not that hard, as you figured out, man. And congrats to you, dude. Sounds like you're doing great, and you seem like a really
yeah,
smart guy.
thanks.
And yeah, man, we really appreciate having you on. When Greg said it was just like a listener and somebody, and I saw your name in the group and I thought it was Chris Rizzo. So I immediately think of the Jerky Boys. I'm like, Chris Rizzo, what
That's
kind of
funny.
slick fuck are you bringing on the show here, Greg? But it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you joining us and chopping up the business model and pulling back the curtains. And I'd have no doubt you're going to be so successful, dude, because you're young and smart and you're a hustler, dude. And yeah, man, I really hope, I wish you all the best. If somebody needs to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold? How can they become a member? How can they learn more?
Yeah, you can look at elevatedboatclub.com, check out our website. You can reach me personally through the business, either email. My email is chris at elevatedwatersports.com. And then you can find us on socials at Elevated Boat Club on Instagram and Facebook.
Super cool, dude. Well, man, we appreciate you coming. Greg, you got any final thoughts here?
No, next time I'm in Tahoe, you're gonna need to get me a boat.
Yeah,
You missed pre-show.
Yeah,
I went to Tahoe 5 years ago. I went fishing and caught these massive lake trout that are like, how deep is the lake? Is it like what's the one of the deepest?
1,600 feet or so at the deepest point. Yeah.
Yeah, you fish like 1,000 feet down for these massive. I caught a 50-year-old lake trout. It was pretty exciting.
Dude, this habit you have, man, of me wrapping up the show so beautifully and awesome, and then you come in with some personal anecdote, dude, about classic cars or a fishing trip, and now you're asking for the guy with a boat with a Nintendo 64. No one's got Nintendo 64 boats, Greg. Leave him alone, man. Like he
That
doesn't.
sounds
You've
pretty
already
cool.
got one friend, and you, Chris, don't you come in here and try and steal my bestie. I don't appreciate that. Greg's my nerd. All right.
You're both invited out to Tahoe. I'll see you in Vegas at the Hormozy thing. Send me the
Let's
invite.
go, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure, dude. I'm gonna look you up
It's
on
a
that
short flight.
Tahoe. We're gonna come out there, dude. Well, we'll have to do like a live
Awesome.
podcast from out there and fucking see what you got going on, dude. Well, again, man, we
The views
appreciate
are
you, brother.
great.
Thanks for coming on, and yeah, we'll see you in the group, man. If you guys aren't in there, go check us out at Watersport Tours, boat rentals, jet skis. I don't know
Go
what
to
the hell.
kevinandgreglive.com and there's a link.
There we go. We always forget the name of our own Facebook group. Hey guys, thank you guys for
Awesome.
always.
Thanks.
Awesome. Take care, boys.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.